Hello, my dear friends. Let's start with the chapter 4 now, societal structures. Our entire society, with the exception of a very limited number of groups, is set up and operates in a way which creates a lot of stress and suppresses the self esteem of its people. This constant stress then transforms into all kinds of diseases, including physical illnesses. Let's understand who creates the stress. There are two major factors. First, the vast majority of our actions are not based on our free will. Instead, they are things we are required to do to conform to accepted social norms of behavior. Second, our need to be better than the other person drives us to do things that we may not do otherwise. It is our ego which drives us to do these things, even though they are against our intuition. The ego wants us to look good and to win all the time. The moment we let go of the ego, all stress vanishes. However, our society teaches us and continuously forces us to keep developing and strengthening our ego. It usually starts in school. Before going to school, a child usually doesn't have a problem. The child is starting to learn what is good or bad and normally accepts and adopts the parents' behaviors, thinking, and value systems. When the child starts going to school, it is forced to do things that it doesn't want to do. For example, sitting on a chair for an hour instead of running around. Also, in school, the child faces tremendous pressure from parents, teachers, and others to start proving himself to be better than other children. On his own, the child feels no need to compare himself with others. That pressure creates a lot of stress for the child. Now let's talk about an antiquated educational system. Our educational system forces everyone to study some common subjects, whether we have any interest in these or not. Almost every student finds some subject or another irrelevant and therefore boring, and the mind revolts against forced actions. Forced actions impinge on a person's free will. And why would anyone appreciate a suppression of his free will? If I force you to do something that you don't want to do, I'm basically proving that I have more power than you have. That means I have already put you down. The moment I put you down, I have lowered your self esteem. The lower your self esteem, the more stress you create for yourself. Your mind is constantly busy trying to figure out why you are lower than me. And the longer you think about it, the worse you feel about yourself. Hence, you're on a downward spiral with no end in sight. The pathology of competition. Let's talk about this. Competition creates stress. Stress creates disease. Our modern society runs on the basis of competition. Most of us believe, and we teach our children accordingly, that competition is good. In turn, this causes a lot of pressure on each of us to outperform the others, even when we may have no such inner desire or interest. Why do I have to be better than the other person in all areas of life, or even in certain areas of life? Why is it so hard for parents to accept that their child might not perform academically as well as the neighbor's child, and yet fail to recognize that their own child has better website design abilities than the neighbor's child? So, whose child is better, theirs or the neighbor's? The problem is created by the word better. To decide who is better, we have to have a scale of measurement or a set of judgment criteria. Then we use the criteria to evaluate people and decide who is better. The question is, who comes up with these criteria? And what if your criteria differ from those of your neighbor? If your criteria differ from your neighbor's, you may think the neighbor's child is better than yours, since his academic performance is better. Yet your neighbor might think your child is better than his, since he will make much more money developing good websites. Now, who is right, you or your neighbor? Yet, both of you create stress for your own child. You want your child to be better than the other. Hence, competition creates stress, and stress creates illness. Is Amitabh Bachchan a failure? For those unfamiliar with the name, Amitabh Bachchan is the most famous Bollywood actor from India. It is probably safe to say that Amitabh has more name recognition than any other living actor in the world today. By society's standards, Amitabh is an extremely successful individual. I doubt that anyone will disagree with that statement. Yet, one of my very vivid memories from the mid 1960s is that of visiting Amitabh's father in his house in New Delhi. I was just accompanying my parents. My mother's family has been close to Amitabh's father's family for a couple of generations. At that time, I was an engineering student studying in IIT, that is Indian Institute of Technology, one of the leading engineering colleges in the world. The moment you mention IIT, you are automatically classified as a top academic success. We were visiting with Amitabh's father in his drawing room, sitting room. After a while, Amitabh walked in, just said hello to us, and walked out shortly. This was at a time before Amitabh was in movies. Just like me, he was a college student at that time. Amitabh's father had a lot of formal education and placed a lot of emphasis on academic success. When Amitabh walked out of the room, I clearly remember Amitabh's father expressing his concern to my parents about Amitabh's lack of interest in academic studies and his concern about Amitabh's future due to his lack of interest in studies. My feeling is he said it also because he knew I was in IIT and he thought I had a good future. Did Amitabh's lack of interest in academic studies prevent his success? Now, I do not know if this was the case, but if Amitabh's father has pushed him to achieve more academically, it would create more stress for Amitabh. And my guess is that Amitabh probably wouldn't have emphasized his academic studies anyway. Let's talk about the competition pyramid class. Imagine a college class with 100 students. You and I are both students in that class. It is a 1 year long college course. At the end of the year, there will be a final exam. After that, the results will be announced in a typical manner of who is first, second, and all the way to 100th in class. Also, imagine that all the students have joined this class with the intention of being the best in class because only the one who is first gets to go to a top university with a full scholarship. In that sense, even coming in second in class is not good enough. So, for the entire year, all 100 of us are under tremendous pressure to perform. This causes lots of stress and anxiety for each and every one of us, not knowing whether we are going to make it or not. After all, we only have a 1% chance of making it because only one of us can be first in class, reaching the apex point of the pyramid. As we all climb the pyramid to reach that apex point, each one of us attempts to push everyone else down. That is the only way we can be on top by pushing others down. That means everyone is trying to hinder everyone else's progress. So, for each one of us, for the entire year, we are trying to push ourselves up, but the other 99 students are trying to pull us down. How much effort does it take for one to fight 99? And imagine how much stress and anxiety it creates for each of us throughout the year. Finally, the year comes to an end. Now we are all suffering from examination anxiety. Once the exam is over, there is no more examination anxiety. But now we all anxiously await the result, causing further continuing anxiety. Finally, the result arrives. Only one person can be first in class. The other 99 persons are feeling miserable and depressed. And what about the one that is first in class? He or she is happy and euphoric for a very short period of time until he or she realizes that the next challenge has to be met similarly and repeated all over again. So, what has been the outcome of this year long class? The class has created tremendous stress and anxiety for 100 students throughout the year. Also, throughout the year, 100 persons have constantly tried to push everyone else down in an effort to be the only one at the apex point. At the end of the year, 99 persons are depressed and miserable, while one person is happy for a very short period of time. Is this a great system or what? In the process, everyone has suffered from stress and anxiety all year around. This stress and anxiety creates all kinds of diseases. The cooperative class, the Maharishi model. Let's know about this. Now, take the same class of 100 people for 1 year. The only difference is that there is no competition and no grading of students from the first to the 100th position. There is one simple rule: either the whole class passes or the whole class fails. That means even if one person in the class fails, all of us fail. Now, throughout the year, each and every one of us wants to help everyone else. The students who may be having a hard time in learning and understanding the concepts are the ones that receive the most help from others. That means everyone is trying to pull everyone else up all year round. and we all want to make sure is that everyone passes. When everyone passes, all 100 people are happy. All 100 persons have felt supported and loved throughout the year and happy for each other. There is minimal stress and much less disease. At the end of the year, all 100 are feeling good, looking forward to repeating this experience again. Now, who wants to choose competition over cooperation? This is the model adopted by very few organizations in the world today. Cooperation is equal to non-violence. There are certain organizations, such as certain sects of the Jain religion, that believe in total non-violence. Whenever you have competition and you are trying to pull others down, there is a very subtle form of violence present in the situation. Anytime you have a game in which you need to win, it means you are trying to prove yourself to be better than your opponent. Hence, people from these totally non violent organizations never get involved in these games. As good and mentally challenging a game as chess is, a person committed to total non-violence will not play chess, since the outcome will be that the loser will feel bad. So, why do something that you know in advance will make someone feel bad? This is why the non violent people do not get involved in competitive activities. Let's talk about the honest businessman. For 30 years of my life, I was actively engaged in international business, both as a corporate executive and as an entrepreneur. I also have an MBA where I was taught the merits of competition. Intellectually, I had accepted the teachings that competition is good and tried practicing it for all that time. The more I got to understand that nuances of business and competition, the more disappointed I became. No matter what the country, the businessman was always trying to outwit the competition or outwit the customer. Corruption in various forms is the norm in business. I finally came to the realization that the term honest businessman is an oxymoron, and that applies to every country in the world today. You can either be honest or be a successful businessman. I finally decided that staying honest was more important than staying a successful businessman, and that was one of the best decisions of my life. Let's talk about the death of glorified competition. Every higher level society works purely on a cooperative basis. There is no hierarchy and no competition. Everyone supports everyone. Once we move to the fourth dimension, mankind will also operate on that basis. There will be no grading of students based on comparison. Nobody will be first in class or towards the bottom of the class. Admission to various classes at all levels will be based on interest alone, with no prescribed curriculum that needs to be followed. All business will be done in a totally open and automated way with absolutely no chance of corruption. No one has a need to prove that he or she is better than anyone else. Let's talk about networked society. Every system we have today is based on a hierarchy in which the person or persons on top are controlling those under them. Using our pyramid analogy, only the person on top is using his free will, and everyone under him as his free will suppressed to some degree. The lower you are in the hierarchical structure, the more suppressed you are. This present structure guarantees that almost everyone in the world feels suppressed and therefore unhappy and stressed out. This is why there is so much disease and illness in the world today. Society in the new world will be network structured. In a network, every node is connected to every other node, yet no node is higher or lower than another node. Each of us will be like a node, equal to everyone else, yet connected to everyone else. With our free will guiding all our actions, we will be happy and healthy at all times. A networked society is a happy and healthy society. The future is looking good. This is the end of this chapter. Thank you.